and welcome to the AstroEnergyAstrology Show podcast with Astrologer Shelley Overton. Hi, this is Shelley. If you would like to learn more about astrology, check out Learn Astrology, an ebook digital download online at angeliczodiac.com.
I just noticed I've been recording for 5 minutes, but none of it recorded because I paused it. So anyway, we're going to go back real quick over what I said. I apologize if there's overlap, but Mars 22 Leo, Venus at 22 Leo, really generating a strong energy around Leo, the drama, big hair, noticing our appearance, wanting to be generous, wanting to gamble. The lotto has gone up lately. This past week, we see more attention to leadership roles and being the center of attention. Drama is increasing. Mars at 22 and Venus at 24 squaring. Well, right now it's squaring Uranus just by sign, and Mars itself is in the last degree of orb from Uranus. I use an 8-degree orb, which means that, depending on the aspect, it can go up or down, like 4 degrees on either side or 6 degrees on either side. I just go straight 8 degrees. It makes it easy. And as the signs approach, using horary astrology, which is using a method that indicates how things will turn out based on the moment in time you understand a question, then that method I actually lapse or slop over into my normal reading, which is approaching aspects have more power than, what would be the other one? Receding aspects, meaning moving away out of the aspect. So once they become exact and then they start to recede, that contains less potency. So really an approaching aspect is much more powerful. And so even though Mars is past a direct aspect to Uranus, the energy of having Taurus triggered, squaring the energy of Mars triggered, there is still friction around action and attention to drama and needing to be in a one-on-one connection versus the energy of Uranus, which really wants to be singular or individual within the collective, whereas Leo is much more about the one-on-one connecting. Uranus, again, ruler of Aquarius, is all about, it's a me within the sea of other people. Anyway, getting back to what we were saying, so Uranus squaring Leo energy is still really triggering some energy around community and the me within the community versus wanting to connect one-on-one. So there's a frustration. If you have a strong trigger in Taurus, if you're a Taurus sun, moon, rising, any of that, you're going to be feeling frustrated with the Leo energy because that squares your energy. And that means that there may be people coming up who want to connect one-on-one with you, and you're really like, I need my space. I need to be apart from the one-on-one. So there's kind of a friction there. And then you've got also another square to Saturn, and Saturn is in the sign of Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus. So Saturn's answering to Uranus, and they're not in cooperation. They're squaring each other. So it's a bit frustrating right now on both sides. So fortunately, Mars and Venus have moved away from an exact T-square to Saturn and Uranus. And so, they are receding and moving away. Venus is in front of Mars, which means Venus is going to have the upper hand with this energy, her desire. So Mars is not putting any brakes on. And Mars doesn't normally put brakes on, Saturn does. But because they were in opposition to Saturn, there were more brakes. And it was probably leaning more towards Uranus having the power. But Venus-Mars now, they are both running ahead of the sun, which is out of bounds. So they're off doing their own thing. If you've got someone coming in now, you're going to have an energy of, like, this is not necessarily a normal vibration or a normal relationship. It might be something that kind of breaks the rules, so to speak. And especially with Venus ahead of Mars, it means that the woman is going to have the upper hand. She's running out ahead and not paying attention to the man. She's like, this is what I want. I have someone I know who was interested in a guy, and the guy, they connected really strongly as Venus approached Mars. And then as soon as Venus got past Mars, they went their own way, and a new person came in. And now it is much more the balance going to my friend and not as much towards the guy, but he's kind of chasing her, which is somewhat what the energy is showing. Venus is out there being all, goddess, big hair, blonde hair. I think of Texas hair, big and blonde. And then Mars in Leo is kind of wanting to be the leader, but seeing that there is this vivacious, vibrant woman that is being chased by the other partner or the person who wants to be the partner. They will catch up. Venus goes retrograde, I believe, later this year. Let me double check that. Yeah, she goes retrograde in December, and she gets all the way to Capricorn, and Mars will be in Scorpio and Sag. So when she retrogrades and then Mars continues direct into next year, they're going to come together. And I would say my professional advice, as I get chills all over my arms and legs as an astrologer, that when Venus and Mars come together early next year, they're going to be probably in the sign of Capricorn. I do not have an ephemeris page called up for 2022. It's so funny, my daughter and I were talking about the calendars for 2022, and February 22nd of 2022, 2022. So it's going to be a really interesting year with twos, and we know what that means. Two is, in numerology, partners. So definitely Venus, Mars coming together in early 22. In the year of 22, really see this coming year as a divine connection, and whoever comes into your life. I'm looking right now, Mars is at 22 degrees. So if you remember from all our past podcasts of last year, the degree that all the planets came together in Capricorn was 22. And now Leo is at 20, Mars and Leo at 22 degrees. So it's going to be a really interesting year of that type of romantic energy, which I love Leo. I love Aquarius for whatever reason. In my personal astrological connections in my chart, Aquarius does not get along necessarily with my Virgo planets, but I have Uranus, the ruler, right next to my sun and my Pluto. So I have a strong connection. And then my home and family is ruled by Aquarius. So it really is kind of a strong connection for me to have Aquarius around close people. I like it. I find it a welcome relief from the intense scorpionic energy in my chart. Again, it goes Uranus, Pluto, Sun, and Virgo in my chart. So, that Pluto just really bogs me down. But Aquarius is a welcome breather from the intense emotionalism that I feel in my chart. If you have an overabundance of water in your chart, that Aquarius energy is going to dry it out a bit. So let me just look at 2022 for you, because I really liked the podcast to have kind of a theme, and we don't really have a strong theme per se on this podcast. So I think just prim. So having some of this come in as a connection really kind of makes me happy. I like talking about interesting side highlights that astrology brings up. Okay, so coming up next year, let's just see that retrograde. Oh my gosh, so close. So I don't know. Capricorn. Okay, so yeah, Mars catches up to Venus because she's still slow coming out of a retrograde in January. I think she goes direct. Let's see when she gets direct in January. She gets direct the 28th of January. And by then, Mars just gets into Capricorn. So she's kind of slow getting off the ground from that retrograde, still getting up to speed, even though she's quicker than Mars. And so she comes together in Capricorn. the right around Valentine's Day. Oh my goodness. Valentine's Day next year is going to be so fun. So much stuff. We've got, okay, so yeah, there's an approaching Jupiter in Pisces, the dream partner, coming up into a sextile to Mars in February of next year within a couple weeks, and even a few degrees. So when Venus and Mars join together, which is the 13th of February in 2022, it'll be 14 degrees, which is a change, of course, something new and changing. They actually, 14 equals 5 in numerology, and that is change. So it's, I call it double nickel. When I was 55, it was like double nickel, pow, pow. So 5-5. And that's Venus and Mars joining up in Capricorn, which is settling in roots, wanting to create the structure of love, and women and men coming together to create that structure. It's going to be awesome next year. And we've got Mercury at 28 degrees of Capricorn, just having gone direct. Next year will probably be 3 Earth sign Mercury retrogrades. I haven't really looked it over yet, but if we start out the year with Mercury and Capricorn, I know this year's all air, so next year's probably all Earth, and we're going to start out with a Capricorn Mercury retrograde having gone direct, which is awesome. So there's literal communication, the structure of love, Venus, Mars, and Capricorn joining up the day before Valentine's Day, Jupiter within 4 degrees of that, culminating in March. So many chills. Next Valentine's Day. I'm so excited. So March 2nd through the 6th of 2022 will be Jupiter at 14 degrees, basically sextiling what happened just 2 weeks before that. And what is 2 weeks? 14 days. So awesome, awesome, awesome symbology coming in next year for love. Oh, I'm so excited. That's going to be really, really awesome. Yeah, so in the zodiac, you have the elements of fire, air, earth, water. So fire and air get along really well together, and earth and water get along. And if you're looking love and commitment and really rooting in, you're looking at earth and water. And so next year with that earth water coming together, end of January, oh my gosh, look for that one, for the one to come in and really settle in at around Valentine's Day next year. Either side of Valentine's, a whole month of February. Let's just call it February is for lovers. So, go to Virginia, which is also for lovers. Anyway, awesome, awesome. Yeah, and Jupiter goes into Pisces. Neptune's still there right now. Neptune, it's really creative. Of course, it is in conjunct to the Venus and Mars at 22 and 24. Neptune in conjunct right in between at 23. So there is some kind of adjustment going on, and that means it's the ideal love, but the Venus-Mars, again, women running out ahead of the men. They are kind of calling the shots right now. Men are trying to catch up. They will catch up next year. It's kind of like we'll get our woman, or, they'll come together as a meeting of the minds. But right now, we're really in playtime. Leo is playtime. The other thing I wanted to say, and again, I'm not sure if I recorded it, unfortunately, the big T-square of Saturn squaring Uranus, Uranus squaring Mars, and Mars opposing Saturn. We had this energy of the breakdown of a relationship and not agreeing at the structure or status of the relationship. But now we've got the new energy coming in as Venus and Mars are basically out of bounds ahead of the sun. And so they're out there doing their own thing. So we've got this past T-square of about a week and a half ago, where Saturn opposed Mars squaring Uranus, and they were kind of all battling for control. Mars, Uranus. So Mars is action and agitation. It can be irritability. It can also be ambition. And in Leo, it's the ambition of the leader. Where do we want to go? We got to get stuff done. It's one-on-one cooperation, more relatedness. And Uranus in Taurus is wanting to be more the individual within the collective. In Taurus, it's about, well, tell me about the money. The money person may have come in and said, this isn't working for the collective, and So the singular acting on behalf of the collective, it can be, like I said, retail, finance, stocks, um, any kind of food, agriculture, growing things, plants, beauty, retail. I think I may have said that. Anyway, and then Saturn, the authority figure acting on behalf of the collective and wanting to create some kind of structure where there maybe isn't any chaotic Aquarian energy. So, yeah, that's passing away as Venus and Mars say, okay, we've done that. We're going to go do our own thing now. And Venus goes retrograde in the last month of the year in December. We'll see some going back over this energy, not this energy, but if you are making some connections now, there will be an adjustment period. Right now, the Venus-Mars, so it's men, women coming together, or male-female relationships, romantic connections, friendship connections, children connections, and the expression of how the family is secure financially. That doesn't necessarily mean joint finances, but money of the household, like the household budget, that kind of thing, because Leo is the second house from Cancer. So if you put Cancer on the first house, Leo is the money. And so it's the manifestation of Cancer energy, which makes it the money of the household. And so we're going to be seeing that kind of triggered as we go into the retrograde of Venus. She is money, she is structure. We're going to see that energy kind of come back to us in December, the second half of December. Yeah, and Mars gets all the way to Sagittarius by the end of the year, so we've still got a few degrees of Leo. When he gets to late Leo, you're going to see, well, actually, in 2.5 days, there's going to be a stronger possibility of fraud with Moon in Libra right now, and then Moon goes into Scorpio. So let me see what day that falls on. Saturday. So Saturday the 17th is the day that the moon goes into Scorpio. It is going to take the deep plunge into water. We're going to have the moon talking to Jupiter, the moon talking to Neptune. So again, you know, like every month for those 2.5 days, it can make us really sad. It can make us really emo. And that means that we are much more connected to the other side of life. We may go so deep that we don't want to be here anymore. So if you know anybody who's got Scorpio influence this weekend, definitely connect in. There's a square between, on Sunday, late Sunday, there'll be a square between Moon and Mars and Venus, and definitely Venus with the moon in Scorpio, late degree. That's where you really have to watch that fraud aspect. Late Leo planet squaring late Scorpio planets. Because if you're wondering why, number one, drama, contrast, and the other is they square. So initially they're both very dramatic and black and white. And because of that, and Leo is a storyteller where Scorpio is the mystery and the hidden. So when you have this storyteller, hyperbolic speech, kind of like, I mean, I know some of the symbology is more Gemini, like a leprechaun, but, you know, that kind of mischievous energy, late degree, meaning the end of a story, or kind of, I want to say it's almost as if I've got nothing left to lose. I'm just going to throw it out there before the planets go into a new sign. But because they're both going to be late and moon is an indicator, it means that there's some kind of activity that is coming out that's being culminated, and a storyline is being finished or told. And the square is the friction, is the discontent between the two signs. And late degrees, it's just an observation that I've known for a couple of years. Late degree Leo planets squaring late degree Scorpio planets, look out for fraud. So that's going to be Sunday, Monday. So 17th and 18th, or 18th, 19th, excuse me. So giving you a heads up, Sunday and Monday. I already had somebody pop in, and I find it interesting because I am an artist. I do sell art. Somebody popped in yesterday for me, and they do what they normally do. I actually had someone a few years ago, about 10 years ago, asked to buy a painting of mine. I'm telling you this just as a cautionary tale. Asked to buy a painting. It was kind of suspicious on multiple levels, but they were out of the country. They were moving from, at the time they said they were moving from New York to England. The woman was pregnant, had problems, and she got really personal. I have problems with the pregnancy. I'm all alone. My husband's out of the country. He's coming back. He came back. Oh no, he didn't have any money because I had the credit cards. He has no way to do it. I want to pay through a money order. Can I do that? And I'm like, this is all really suspicious. You know, so many reasons to have obstacles to payment, and that's always a heads up. And then the money order or a check or any kind of like certified check or money order, always be cautious with that, because we live in a credit card debit world. It's plastic now. Even though we use other forms, I've used money orders, I've had a recent money order or check. It's okay if you know the person, but when somebody comes out of nowhere and says, oh, I love your art and I want to buy this, I mean, my red flags went up, and I still ended up getting taken because I deposited the check to my bank account. I told them I was concerned. I got a copy of the check. They said, oh no, this attached to an actual account. I'm like, okay, great. And then they wanted, the final kicker was they overpaid by thousands, like at 1,300 or something, and they wanted it sent back, the difference between the painting and that. And it was like 3 paintings over 1,000. So whatever the difference was, they wanted it sent back to this account. And I was asking my bank, like, is this a legit thing? They're like, oh yeah, it is. It wasn't. It's still 10 days later, after it already had cleared my bank. They already said it was good. It wasn't good. They pulled the money and it was all, collapsed. So I had to close that account. Like they just totally got me, even when I knew. So it was a very bad thing. And recently, like I said yesterday, somebody approached me again, and it probably wasn't going to be a big sale. Same kind of thing, oh, I don't have access to my money. My husband has my credit cards. Can you do this? It's a surprise, all the same stuff. And it's like, don't get taken in. If they go really personal, extra details, and put in reasons why the money can't just easily be exchanged, big red flags. So anyway, that's my little cautionary tale. But because Sunday and Monday are highly susceptible to this energy, just be aware, be cautious. Okay, so I'm just gonna, and then I'll give you the Sun and Mercury, and the rest I've pretty much already touched on. And then I will go over some of the upcoming week's aspects that you can be aware of besides just the cautionary Sunday, Monday. So Mercury in Cancer is in conjunct to Saturn right now. And that means that you're going to have family at odds with your need for freedom. Family, Mercury in Cancer wants to hole up, wants to create a shell. And Pluto, of course, is in Capricorn. So Pluto, the passion for having that boundary or the structure is there. You're going to have an influence of Pluto, even though it's not an exact opposition. Mercury, it is in opposition to the Sun. So the ego is being involved. Really Cancer, their weakness is the fear of lack of security, the fear of no finances. It's really heightened right now. It's in direct opposition. Saturday, it's approaching an exact opposition to Pluto. So let's just find out when that opposition hits. It hits at 6:46 p.m. Saturday night and 3:46 p.m. Pacific time, a direct opposition of Sun to Pluto. That's going to be a really big energy. It wouldn't surprise me if it has to do with the government. Homeland, meaning, here in America, we're a Cancer country. I've said it many times. Homeland is, for any Cancer country, your homeland. That means that it's going to be connected strongly to the larger picture when Pluto is involved. Pluto is a generational energy, so there is a very large group, like 15 years, up to 20 years at times, of people who have Pluto in Capricorn, who have that influence. And because of that very large influence and the fact that it's a slow-moving planet, it has time to really dig in and affect the masses, which pandemic, dictators, anything that affects the masses right now. This is going to really be kind of a watershed moment. So look for that coming Saturday night, this weekend. And then we also have Chiron just retrograde in Aries. So Chiron in Aries, it isn't exact to that opposition, but it is squaring Mercury. So Chiron square Mercury is going to be really stressful mentally and how we think about our security. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if there's some type of event that involves maybe family violence, family mental health or upset, upheaval, something having to do with an electrical event. It can be storms, it can be localized storms, especially because it's Mercury, which is more local. It can be an event happening in a household or to a family within the house, maybe centered around a short circuit or something that has to do with an air energy being Mercury in the house. It could be a short circuit due to flooding because Cancer. There's the electrical, their air water energy squaring or actually opposing Pluto, but then connecting also. Let me just look here. Yeah, so Friday night tonight, there's more of a moon square Mercury. Again, it's going to be passe by the time you hear it, but that energy is still there. It's a 9-degree nodal energy to the Mercury right now on Saturday. So there's an inconjunct. That inconjunct is also going to be influential around spirituality, expansion of knowledge and wisdom, and travel. So definitely see some kind of like calling away to a different place, out of the home. I've got to go. I know of someone this morning was called into work unexpectedly, had to drive 45 minutes to work, that kind of thing. Or, so it's water, air, and then with the inconjunct to the south node, that's fire. So water, air, fire, distress. So, you can make that Rubik's Cube go in a number of different ways. All right. So we've got that. You look like the light here looks pretty good, but it's really kind of getting dark in here because it's already 8 o'clock for me. Let me just see if there's anything else that sticks out this weekend. Sunday is a hard day, and I already had all these aspects. I always show this to you. All the aspects highlighted on Saturday night and Sunday. There's a trine between Moon in Scorpio and Jupiter in Pisces. That can be a real difficult thing around money and love and joint finances, or even idealism as it relates to your desires. A trine, it's going to be that unexpected event. It can be an emotional event around women, around mothers, sisters. I wouldn't be surprised if we find out with Venus running ahead of Mars. And then, of course, we've got Neptune at 23 Pisces in conjunct to Venus. Desire, feminine, goddess, love energy, ultimate love, universal love, in negative aspect to the archetype of women. So and Neptune is the ending of things. So, and then we'll have Moon in Scorpio Monday. So there's also going to be that square to Venus and then a trine to Neptune on Monday, which also means women, families, feminine energy. So I wouldn't be surprised if we hear of someone passing away Monday in the spotlight, or a situation that puts women in the spotlight and transition somehow. Could also be a retirement. It doesn't have to be totally morbid, but Neptune also is my indicator for retirement. So we could hear that somebody is giving up, a very prominent place in some type of significant career come this weekend or early next week. Okay, what else? I'm going to move on to next week and touch base with some of that. So Monday the 19th, wounding with family members. I'm just going to tell you what I wrote. Tuesday, there are a lot of Moon in Scorpio in conjuncts to Uranus, Mercury, Chiron, and there's a positive aspect to Saturn in the morning and midday. So that's going to be really good. Moon in Sagittarius, sextile Saturn in Aquarius, really strong energy chills with freedom, with entrepreneurship and growth of spiritual aspects in your life. seeking new information, education, all opening up really great in the morning on Monday there. But also watching out for not taking everybody at what they say. Dig deeper, look to where they could potentially be pulling one over you on Monday. And then Tuesday, Mercury sextile Uranus in Taurus. That's home and goods. You might be getting a new couch. You might be growing flowers and they'd be blooming, harvesting the food. Anything that could be the material world, culminating, bringing forth something good and positive. Ideas are really wonderful around creativity in the home, feeling nurtured, feeling secure. Money's coming out, really good energy in the morning. And then the afternoon is when Moon in Sagittarius hits Chiron, Uranus, Mercury, more difficult, almost said difficulter. Good. Difficulter aspects. So it's going to be initiating. So we got Aries, Taurus, and Cancer in conjunct and trying to Sagittarius. Growth learning lessons. See that in the afternoon Tuesday. Wednesday, also Sagittarius energy. Moon goes into Capricorn 6:36 p.m. Positive vibes in the evening. It's a house for sale, a move. The structure may shift, and it's good cooperation with women and work. Women getting ahead, advancement for women, structure, supportive. It can also, Venus enters Virgo in the evening, which is work and service, workaholism, desire to be productive, service, but also being shy or anxious, because now Venus goes from Leo gregarious into Virgo Earth, which is kind of skittish. And definitely the Virgo energy with Venus, it rules the Virgin. So a little bit more keeping things close to the chest, not being as forthcoming. And yet I want to tell you this, being the Virgo I am and kind of dealing with some Virgo energy this week. When you deal with Virgos, they are very loving people, even though they come across as critical and analytical at times and, very intellectual. They really do have very big hearts. And so what happens is they feel energy so clearly because they process electrical energy, being a Mercury ruler, and then they ground it and transmute it. So what Virgo does is they feel the immediate energy, the friction, the upset, the electrical energy, and then they process it, transmute it, and then ground it. So when you first meet a Virgo, they're going to be like, whoa, what's your energy? What are you? What's going on with it? Because it can make them a little anxious. Just the energy coming at them, the electrical energy coming at them is anxiety producing or shy producing. So they will go, okay, wait a minute, I need to ground, I need to get my territory. And then once they do that, they're like, okay, I know your energy. I know if you're safe or not, or where you're at. It doesn't even have to be about safety. It really is more about how do I process your energy being around you. And so once they're comfortable with what kind of energy you're giving off, they're like, okay, I know how to handle this. And then they can be a little more open. So I would recommend giving a Virgo their space initially if you don't really know them. If you know their sign, if you know they're a Virgo, if you're an astrologer or study astrology, you may know that. But cut the Virgo a little slack because they do get overwhelmed with energy. And then as soon as they can transmute it and process and ground it, they're good. And they will be very wonderful, wonderful friends, wonderful workers, and very knowledgeable, very sincere. But my daughter asked me today, what is the most sincere sign of the zodiac? And she suggested Virgo. And I'm like, I think Virgo really is, earth signs are very sincere. Taurus can be really sincere, and Virgo can be really sincere. Okay. We're only up till Tuesday and Wednesday, but we got to get through this. So Venus in Virgo opposition to Jupiter and Pisces. Actually, even though it's an opposition, it's a really positive opposition because Jupiter is expansive and Pisces is very loving, embracing energy, and Venus really needs that when she's in Virgo. So it's going to be desires are, the energy will be taken from the knowledge of Venus and Virgo. Her desire is to understand and to be of service and to be aware and helpful. And then the energy of Pisces is going to say they're there. It's going to be okay. We're really expanding the realm to help you integrate the energy and feel love and self-love. So this is a very strong day for self-love on, well, over from Wednesday to Thursday. And then Sun enters Leo, which actually kind of gives a boost to Virgo because Leo rules for second house of money and couples and the material world. So it's really good for Virgos on Wednesday or Thursday of next week. And then Friday is the full moon in Aquarius at 1 degree, hitting my son's full moon in Aquarius at 1 degree. So it should be really interesting. Any of you born in 1998, late in the year, for a few months right there, we had Neptune at 0, 1, 2 degrees of Aquarius. So the younger generation who's right there, is that Gen Z or Gen Y? I honestly don't even know because, right, I would put it as millennials. For me, if you're born on the millennium, you're a millennial, but that's not how it is. Those born after 84 apparently are the millennials, or in the 80s, which makes no sense to me. But, I don't make those labels. So anyway, those people born late in last millennium are going to be the ones that are really going to be affected by this full moon. Anybody with early, like 0 to 3 degrees Aquarius planets are going to feel the full moon. And the full moon is in Aquarius, so it is really about finding your friends, the collective, having clear awareness of things, releasing the emotion. And this is extremely strong. For me, it's going to be the last thing really I probably go over for this podcast is we are approaching Pluto hitting that degree. We are in the time where Saturn just hit it the end of last year, or Jupiter hit it last year. And also beginning of this year, I think Saturn went in January, Jupiter went into Aquarius December of last year. So we had this tremendous shift. In America, we had this shift in our government. And then we had that release going on. We had the new president sworn in at 0 degrees Aquarius with the sun there. And I believe something went on with Mercury. It might have even gone into Aquarius that day too. I don't know. But the point is, it's a very significant degree as far as I'm concerned, especially for the country of America. We are going to probably see a wonderful shift of energy and awareness of something. It is homeland. It is releasing the Capricorn energy because the moon is full just into Aquarius, so it's building in Capricorn. It's building this tremendous energy around wanting to control over the course of the week. So midweek, you're probably going to hear more about dictators and about people rising up because the end degrees of Capricorn, that's where we're seeing. We've got Pluto there now. We're seeing Cuba. We're seeing things going on in other foreign countries like Afghanistan. We're shifting the dynamic there by leaving. It's the community and what are they doing in their own country? Are they going to be able to get control of what's going on? So yeah, it's a really, really strong day. And so I'm guessing probably by this time next week when I do the podcast, we're going to have a lot to talk about around that full moon. And it's always, for me, it's a very clarifying energy. It's really a lovely, lovely full moon. I'm going to say it this week, and I'll probably repeat next week, that this week, if you listen to this, you'll be able to be forewarned and forearmed. Next week, I probably won't get the podcast out in time for it. So I'm going to talk about it more strongly right now, that the Aquarius moon is a great release for things that make you feel fearful and unfortunate or uncomfortable or ambitious that isn't going well, taking too much ownership of other people's problems and situations where you're in a community or in a system and it's not going well, you're resisting letting go. It is about letting go. I always bring this up. Frozen the movie. Watch Frozen the movie. It came in on Pluto coming into Capricorn. It is quintessentially Pluto and Capricorn. Letting go, got chills everywhere. Releasing what you refuse to let go of because you're afraid. Don't be afraid. The full moon in Aquarius is going to be at a very significant point, especially in 2023, when Pluto hits that degree. So this is a wonderful time to release all this old energy buildup. It is 2020 energy, 2021 with the insurrection, the shift of government, anything that we've been resisting and fearful of, let it go. We're moving into a new energy. It's going to be good. Yes, we're going to have some hiccups and setbacks, but with that also 1 degree Aquarian moon, we're going to have a couple days later, the moon will be right there at the end degrees of Aquarius. And so that's also going to trigger some of the early Pisces, Aquarius Pisces energy, which was also the pandemic energy degrees with the Mercury retrograde last year. So it kind of goes from a release of old fears right into the resurrection of COVID on some level, and possibly even more of that restriction, because again, that was the Saturn in early Aquarius that we felt some of that. So it's kind of a mixed bag, and that's Aquarius. It's a mixed bag. It's going to be a roller coaster of emotion, but I would say take the time, really use the energy of the unexpected to your advantage. Do those release ceremonies, use your crystals, anything with air, do a smoke, sage, any kind of air thing, because Aquarius is air. Do the air releases. Set out a lantern, a glowing lantern, a balloon, something, anything that interacts the air. And that's all I have for you. So I want to thank you for showing up. I really do try hard every week to give you a lot of new information along with the old stuff I repeat for new people coming in. Please do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe. Like, comment, subscribe down below. Share this for me. Please, please, please share this if you like it. And we'll see you here next week. And have a great week. Hope you make it through with positivity. Always keep eyes on the positive. It'll really help set up your future to bring back good karma. And that's all for this week. Take care. Bye. Well, this podcast is not without its frustrations right now. Paused the recording a minute ago and forgot to turn it back on. I didn't see I hadn't. I thought I had, and apparently it didn't take. So re-recording that big chunk, and then just paused, got a text message, went to check it, and the camera flew off. Oh my goodness, hang on. The camera flew off the surface that I'm using. Anyway.
You have been listening to the AstroEnergyAstrology show. If you would like to get a private reading with Shelley, please contact her through angeliczodiac.com or at so@angeliczodiac.com. You can arrange a reading through the Angelic Zodiac page at facebook.com as well. Check out Angelic Zodiac on Instagram for up-to-date information on events, discounts, blogs and planetary transits at Angelic Zodiac 1 on Instagram. If you would like to see Shelley's art, shelleyoverton.com, or for astrology art, go to astroart.net. Music provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com. Other music will be credited within the show. Advice given in the program is intended for entertainment purposes only. Join us here next week for more of the Astro Energy Astrology Show podcast. You can find us on iTunes and Google Play, and where podcasts are accessed.